Good afternoon, friends. This is Dr. Mitra Pariyar speaking from Kathmandu. Namaste. As you can see in the background, I'm sitting in one of the loveliest part of the city of Kathmandu, the Buddha Stupa. It is a famous pilgrimage site for the Buddhists around the world, particularly Mahayana Buddhists or Tibetan Buddhists. The Stupa is also a World Heritage Site where thousands and thousands of tourists from all over the world, including those in Australia, Europe, America, throng in the tourist seasons, particularly in spring and autumn. So friends, from this lovely part of Nepal, with plenty of pigeons, the emblems of peace, feeding themselves hungrily in the background, I want to briefly tell you about my intentions, my plans, my vision for liberating Dalits in Nepal. As many of you might know, I was abroad for a while, for over 10 years. I studied my master's in anthropology from Oxford University. I did my PhD from Macquarie University in Australia, Sydney. Before this, I was a research fellow, a full-time academic with Kingston University in London. I returned to my country, Nepal, 8 months ago. I am permanently resettled in my own country, which I love. The main reason for giving up my academic careers abroad is to try and raise a movement for the liberation of Nepali Dalits. As you probably know, the caste system is quite rigid in Nepal. There have been many political changes in the past decades, including the termination of 250-year-old monarchy in 2008. It has also been declared a secular state in 2006. Nepal is a full-fledged democracy now. And since the end of the violent Maoist revolution in 2006 and the subsequent end of the Hindu monarchy, Nepal has seen a degree of political stability. People around the world tend to think Nepal has arrived finally in the era of peace and prosperity. I quite share the same bright prospects for my country. However, as you might have read in the press or watched on news channels, 5 to 6 million people of Nepal who have been categorized as Dalits or lower castes or Sudras according to the Hindu scriptures and traditions. They continue to face severe penalties, including humiliation, beating, even death, if they do not respect and honor the traditional caste system. Caste system or the caste discrimination has been wiped out of Nepali law. It is punishable by law to practice any form of untouchability and discrimination. But as an important and integral part of the cultural and religious tradition, most people respect the law of the Manu, the traditional law of caste, and dominate and discriminate and humiliate against Dalits. And those that do not so respect, if they do not bend to the rules of the caste system, and if they insist on asserting their rights in accordance with the new law and the Constitution, they are likely to be violently attacked and murdered. As a consequence, because of this conflict between the religious tradition, cultural tradition, and the law of the nation, there has been a spike in violence against lower castes. So, there is a need to launch a movement. This is not to say that Nepali Dalits have not been fighting thus far. Yes, unlike in India, Nepali Dalits have not been fighting for hundreds of years, but they have been fighting for their dignity and rights in the past 70 years. The problem is that most of the Dalits are affiliated, linked with political parties. They fought together with their upper caste leaders to end Rana tyranny, monarchical dictatorship, and that sort of cruel regimes in the past. But they have not launched independent Dalit movements, nor have they given any thought, politically at least, to the forms of discrimination created, sustained, retained, perpetuated by the scriptures and religious traditions. Part of the reason is that they themselves, most of the Dalits are the Hindus, who would not question what is in their faith. Another important reason, more important reason perhaps, is that they are linked to the parties, as I said, and all the parties, including the leftist parties, progressive ones, those that consider themselves communists, including the Maoists that launched a 10-year violent revolution in Nepal. They are led invariably by the upper castes. And it has been proven time and again that upper caste Dalits rarely want to change the religious and cultural traditions of the country. They are more unlikely to do so now because they fear perhaps losing their votes if they try to implement the new law against caste domination. Therefore, with great influence of Dr. Ambedkar, who is an iconic Dalit leader, an ideologue in India, who had double PhD, one from America and one from the UK, who studied at LSE in London, and who was the principal architect of the Indian Constitution post-independence. So I have been greatly influenced by him. The Brahminic regimes in Nepal have not allowed his thoughts, his views to arrive in the hills of Nepal. So that I want to follow, that Ambedkarite path I want to tread on, and I want to focus my politics not only on asking the government, the state, to implement the new law against caste domination and discrimination, but also to ask the Hindu regimes, Hindu authorities, to change their ways, to amend their traditions so that we can enjoy a degree of freedom and liberty. We want to do away with the strict injunctions of Saint Manu, who in his famous Manusmriti has dictated severe penalties, cruelties, torture, murder of the Sudras for the slightest derailment from the caste order. Therefore, in the past 8 months since I arrived here from London, I have visited 20 districts. I have visited the villages and the towns and interacted with many Dalits, and have found and have observed, have noted that most Dalits find no leadership in terms of challenging their traditional domination. Their leaders, their intellectuals are mostly associated with the parties, and they are always trying to pursue their own goals, trying to access power, trying to gain power, to make money, to get their parties elected. And if they want to get their parties elected, they better not mention something that is popularly practiced, i.e. the caste system, caste structure. So we, Ambedkarites, want to get together and try to hit at the roots of the problem, hit the caste structure ordained by the Hindu scriptures and traditions. So friends, I have started what I call Dalit self-defense campaign. If needed, we'll go as far as taking up arms, but we will begin with peaceful politics, peaceful protests. Ours will be an independent campaign, not directly linked to any political party. We will not be bowed down by any party or any leader or any traditional political ideology such as Marxism. We will strongly adhere to Ambedkarite ways and try to raise a new awareness among the suffering masses that religious culture and tradition have been the principal source of their suffering. Once we raise this awareness, I'm sure, as in America, such as in the case of George Floyd, Nepali Dalits will come in their hundreds and their thousands to the streets and stand up for their rights. That is the situation I'm very, very much looking forward to creating through my politics, through my social movement. Mine will be a social movement. It will be politics, but not politics aimed at gaining power, not politics aimed at amassing wealth. So I want to ask all my friends, national and international, to help me, to support me in every way possible. And in the end, before I finish, I want to apologize to the majority of the audience who perhaps might not understand English. I have been putting forward the same view again and again in Nepali through social media, including Facebook, Twitter, through our new YouTube channel, DSD Nepal, and even in TikTok. So there is nothing new I have said that my Nepali speaking friends will not be able to understand, but I hope my address will reach the wider audience in India, in other countries of South Asia, in Europe, in the UK, America, Australia, and elsewhere. Thank you very much. Looking forward to coming and sharing my new ideas and thoughts and experiences in the coming days. Namaste, Dr. Mitra Pariyar from Kathmandu.